Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So the market is, zigzagging back and forth. It's going to crash. We've been talking about that for a while. When it crashes, I think it's coming up. Now, is it weeks, months? I would say yes. Right. So weeks, months. I can't tell you the exact date, but it will crash. And what is the best investment? Of course, it is silver. All right, so silver has performed exceptionally well. 3 years ago, I think it was like two and a half, 3 years ago, maybe not that long ago. Silver was down around $17, and we were like, jumping up and down, telling everybody this is a buying opportunity. You're never going to see it again. And sure enough, silver is up 3 times from that level. Now it was up over $54 yesterday, and it's pulled back with the volatility that's in the market right now. This is normal. It happens quite often. And, we're probably going to see more of this going forward, more volatility. We'll see wild swings, and then eventually we'll see the crash. Now, like we saw over the last 24 hours, we saw that the stock market collapsed massively, well over 1,000 on the Dow. The NASDAQ, I don't know if it was that much, but kind of close to that. And S&P, a couple hundred or so down. So all of them were filling up gaps. That's to be expected, have volatility like that. But we've seen some extreme volatility in crypto. So it looks like crypto is basically starting to break down, and it's not going to come back. It could. There's a possibility, but there's seasonality with crypto, and crypto is reaching the seasonality where it starts to go down, right? And we may see crypto go down and not come back again for a very, very long time, right? Because we're seeing Satoshi. So remember, Satoshi is a guy that wrote the program for Bitcoin many, many years ago. Or supposedly a guy named Satoshi. No one's ever met him or knows about him, but somebody named Satoshi wrote this program, Bitcoin, and so people were buying it back when it was like under $1, and a few dollars, $10, whatever, and it's reached highs of, as now it's under 100,000. I think it's like 94,000 right now. It had reached a high of 126. Now, I said I thought that Bitcoin would reach 125, and there was a possibility that it could, on another retracement, go as high as 135. Now, I think somebody at Bear Stearns or one of those, investment places said that they see into next year Bitcoin going 170. I think we'll probably see 45,000 in Bitcoin before we see 170. But anything's possible in this manipulated market, although I don't think so. All right. So Satoshi era people that bought crypto and have been hodling, that's hold on for dear life, all this time. So I don't know, what is that, 10, 12, 15 years ago, whatever it is, longer, maybe. I don't know. I have to go back and pull it up, but it's been a long time. They're selling. They are selling. The one Satoshi era, a lot of, they call them whales. A lot of whales are selling their crypto. That means they have some insights, right? It's kind of like, those people that get out of the stock market that have companies and they start selling their shares long before they collapse. So that's kind of what we're seeing right now. So imagine that. Someone that has been holding their Bitcoin probably since Bitcoin first came out and sold it. Now, I don't know how much they paid for how much they had, but they sold for $1.5 billion, right? So I'm sure they didn't pay anywhere near that much. We always like to hear, oh, they paid a few $1,000 and they sold it for 1.5 billion. Maybe, maybe. So it's quite a run Bitcoin's been on, but I think we're seeing the last days of it, unfortunately. All right. I predicted long ago that Bitcoin would go to zero, but it revived. And I was like, well, I'm going to make some money on this since everybody else is. So I've been a crypto millionaire a couple times. So it is something you can, speculate in. I would say you should not speculate now, and maybe even sell your holdings if you have some. Or, some of you think that you know more than, I guess, the Satoshi era Bitcoin holder, and you're going to hold. That's normally what happens with most people. 95 to 99% of people lose money in crypto. So I don't know. Maybe if you got some, I have always sold my crypto and made nice profits on it. I am not in crypto right now, any of it. I've been saying it's not a good investment, that silver is a better investment. And sure enough, silver's up, like I said, 3 times. Now, when will be the next time it goes up 3 times? I think we'll see a 3x from here in silver in the middle of next year. So the time frames of silver, doubling, tripling, and so forth are getting smaller. Time frames are condensing. You're getting very, 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 very fast now. All right. Kim in Wisconsin, I saw some of the chat before I got on. Kim in Wisconsin had a very nice little post there. I don't know if you can see that, but when good men and women rise and stand for humanity, the weak men and women will fall and crumble. Then we win. Keep the faith. I love you all. Amen. So very good. Thanks, Kim in Wisconsin. Very good stuff. All right. So that's what we want all of you to have. All right. To be able to survive the coming fall. Now, when I look at, and I've been saying this, I think we're going to have a worse financial crash than 1929. Now, if you look at 1929, it was overall stocks. So if you look at overall stocks now, they're highly inflated, more than any time in history, going all the way back to 1929. So let's look at the next stock market crash, which is very significant, and that would be the dot-com crash, where we saw the NASDAQ crash from its high of 5,000 all the way down 78%, and it did not come back again for, I think, nearly a decade, right? So I think this next crash, because we didn't see stocks come back to their highs from 1929 for, I think, a quarter of a century. We will probably see that again. Now, for crypto, I don't think crypto will ever come back again. I think crypto is going to be seen for the scam. I think it's a scam, but we'll see. Maybe there's something there. A lot of very smart people say so. I don't know. But for me, when I look at it, I've always looked at it as a scam. That's just me being intuitive, looking at it, going, it's a scam. But hey, everybody else is making money on it. I'm gonna play ball too, right? So I'm gonna put on my cleats and my shirt and my running pants and go out and play ball, right? So I played ball really well because I did that in high school. So I still have it. All right. So you have that intuition. You need to use it going forward. So the next crash, like I talked about, so we have 2 crashes, overall stocks, highest ever, NASDAQ crashes. Now, what was the NASDAQ? What was that? There was a dot-com crash. So now we have the AI bubble, just like we had the dot-com crash. I don't know how many of you guys were around or have knowledge of the dot-com crash. I remember there was one stock called Pets.com. They had $1 million, like on the Super Bowl, they had ads that were like crazy. Spent millions of dollars on these ads. Not long after that, they were zero stock, zero, no more. Like Bear Stearns, zero, right? So then you look at the more recent 2008-9 crash. It was a housing crash. We're already seeing housing crashing. We're seeing now housing, the real estate market for homes and so forth was the one that crashed in the last stock market bubble that we saw deflate, and it took everything else with it. But we didn't see commercial. So we saw residential crash, but we did not see commercial. We've already seen commercial crash on a level that's never been seen before. And we've seen commercial real estate crashing 80, 90%. So I predicted that we will see 80, 90% crash, not everywhere. Some places will, fare better, but everything will crash. It will be the everything crash, but silver and gold, right? So if you need an investment that is safe and is going to be non-speculative, that is silver, guys. We've been talking about this for years. Now, of course, Dr. Kirk Elliott is the safest place that you can put your silver. Now, some of you are like, I have a few $100s worth of silver. If your house gets broken into, you lose a few $100s worth of silver or a few 100 ounces or whatever. No biggie, right? What if you have tens of thousands of dollars worth of silver, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars worth of silver in your home, and your home gets broken into, or you get held up, or your house burns down, and the fire guys come in and it's all in puddles and they're like, sticking their pockets, they walk off with it. So now how is that that's not going to serve you very well. So that's why I like to have my silver and gold. So I've heard all these smart guys and gals, not so many gals, but mostly smart guys, because it seems like a lot of guys are handling the finances. That's not very good for you ladies. But anyway, there is, and a lot of you ladies have gotten tough. I've heard from you, and you either like broke free from your hubbies that were stuck on stupid, which is you're gonna find out. All right, they were fucking around, and they're gonna find out the hard way. It's coming, right? If they're invested in the stock market, and they'll probably dance around and go, maybe it'll go back up again. Maybe it'll go back up in January. Maybe it'll go back up into early spring. Maybe. But when I show you the information that I'm going to show you, bring hubby boy over here and watch this. And he's probably not going to like the way I just said that. But anyway, you're going to find out, guys, that if you're not in silver, every time that there's been massive stock market crashes, silver and then gold has been the way to go. Now, if you have your investment in some of these other organizations, I've talked to a lot of people, most of you are getting ripped off. If you are in a company and they're like, well, we don't normally do gold and silver, but we'll do gold and silver just for you. All right. So you're going to get stolen from. All right. And a lot of you have already. So that's obviously we want you to have the best deal. You do whatever you're going to do. I'm just giving you the best information to make a logical, very sound decision that can be generational wealth. And when I say generational, if you're like me, you're a little bit older or you're younger, 25, it can still be generational. You can have kids. You might not have kids yet at 25, and you invest in gold and silver, and it builds like a phenomenal wealth for you, and it carries over to your children. You're able to buy real estate that will be depreciating quite rapidly over the next several years. All right. You'll be able to buy it at a massive discount. I saw just recently this one guy that was in the stock market back in 1907 or something like that. And he invested like a couple $1 million or something in the stock market. And it was like the same amount that would allow him to buy half of Manhattan, right? And by the time 1929 rolled around, because he kept reinvesting and making shorts and the Big Short, all right. So he walked away in the end after the 1929 crash with $100 million. So imagine if you had the wealth that you could buy Manhattan, probably the rest of the East Coast. What you could do with that, right? Now, most of us aren't going to have that kind of wealth. Probably none of us in this chat, but we can have ridiculous wealth, guys, going forward. If you've been investing, if you haven't, it's not too late, because this thing has still got another 8x in it, right? It's already been up 2-3x, and I think it's going to go up another 8x from here. So that's we're looking at, you know, ridiculous levels, you know, up around $500 an ounce for silver, right? But that's further out. That's several years out. So this bull market is just starting. It's just now getting going. All right, so I'm gonna pull up some stuff, and we're gonna look at, you know, some things are gonna make you go, If you're still on the fence, which I can't understand, but if you're still on the fence, you're gonna want to get off the fence, and you want to get off the fence like now, right? So here we go. This is Michael Burry. So what did I do there? Why am I there? So I just read it myself. So Michael Burry is, let's see if I can get the real one. There it is. Why did that happen? There it is. So Michael Burry, they called him the Big Short. So back in 2007, what he did is he had an investment group, and he basically said, stocks are overvalued, I'm out. So he left, and he made short positions that garnered him, and I think he almost made $1 billion himself, but he made multiple billions for the people that he was still investing with. But remember, he pulled out. He was no longer in an investment fund. He closed it, just like he just did 2 days ago, and the stock market crashed. All right. Now, I think that it's going to come back, but let's listen to this. Is phenomenal information.
2008 collapse just shut down his hedge fund. On November 10th, 2025, Michael Burry's Scion Asset Management officially terminated its SEC registration. This isn't just another fund closure. This is the man who saw through the subprime mortgage scam when everyone else was buying, who made personal profits over $100 million while banks collapsed around him, walking away from the game entirely. Here's what should grab our attention.
Now, when he did this, when he was speaking of this, and he's been speaking of this over the last several months, that things are overvalued. When he did that back then, everyone laughed at him, like probably people are laughing at me now, telling you guys you need to get out of the stock market and get into silver, right? So he basically did short positions now and put positions, and that's what he's done again. His short and put positions go into next year. So we've seen other hedge fund managers, Berkshire Hathaway has basically, their head has pulled back from a lot of positions, and it has gone more to cash than at any time in history of Berkshire Hathaway. So we're seeing more and more of these people, and there's more in this. There's a couple other huge hedge fund managers that have done the same similar thing as Michael Burry.
Burry told his investors on October 27th that his estimation of value in securities is not now, and has not been for some time, in sync with the markets. Think about what that means. The guy who correctly predicted the biggest financial crisis in our lifetime is saying the math doesn't work anymore. But here's where it gets really interesting. Burry's last 13F filing from the third quarter of 2025 reveals something extraordinary. He was holding $912 million in put options against Palantir and $186 million in puts against NVIDIA. Massive bets that these AI darlings are going to crash. These aren't short-term trades either. His positions extend all the way to 2026 and 2027, suggesting he believes this correction will be massive and prolonged. You want to know how confident Burry is in his thesis? He's publicly claimed that tech companies are fudging depreciation schedules on their AI infrastructure to artificially inflate earnings. That's not market commentary. That's an accusation of systematic accounting manipulation across the entire markets. What does that tell us about what's coming next? Here's what most investors don't realize. Legendary fund managers closing shop during market highs isn't just coincidence. It's been the most reliable crash indicator in American financial history.
The most reliable crash indicator in financial history. Now, is it going to happen? Is it already happening? I don't think so. Is it going to happen next week? I don't think so. Is it going to happen this year? Maybe. But I would say, and I wouldn't leave any positions on the table, guys, but I would say it's going to be next year. So I'll be in position to benefit from it, hopefully, because as we saw yesterday, I had no indication that the stock market was going to crash like it did. All right. So I was surprised, quite frankly. And so that will be the way it will be when it happens. You will wake up if you have, still have stocks. You will wake up and the market before it opens will already be down 1,000+ points. And then when it opens, it will go down thousands of points. And all of your investment will evaporate over the last several years. And then the next day, it will do it again. And we'll do it again. And we'll do it again. And then it'll bounce and everybody's like, oh, it's just too much froth. And they got, and the dip buyers will come in and they'll buy and it will go up and we'll go up maybe a week, maybe a few days, and then it will turn around, dead cat bounce, and it will go down again a lot further. Same thing happened with the dot-com burst, right? So we're going to see that. And like you just saw, Michael Burry is predicting it will be a prolonged downturn. So he's all the way out into 27. So almost all of 26 and probably a good portion of 27 will be the collapse. Very similar to what happened in the last dot-com bust and what happened with the 1929 bust. And 2007, it didn't last that long because the Federal Reserve came in and dumped money like crazy. That's pretty much like an alcoholic getting up in the morning and drinking more, right? It's prolonging the agony and the problem. So that's what we're seeing right now. We've seen this problem prolonged all the way back to 2008. And it's going to be a significant and uninterrupted, for the most part, crash to the bottom, right? So we'll see that across all asset classes, but one, commodities, right? It's where everybody goes when everything starts to collapse. We'll probably see a pullback like we saw today, yesterday and today in gold and silver. But at some point, it'll stop, and then it's going to shoot. It's going to shoot higher because it's been manipulated down more than any asset in the history of Earth, right? So this thing is going to go bazonkers as soon, I believe. All right. So that's one of them. Now let's look at another one. I have a few to share with you today. All right. So the speculative mood, Bitcoin and NASDAQ. So for all you crypto bros and crypto sisters, you're getting spanked right now. But if you think you're going to buy the dip, maybe. But at some point, you're going to see, like I've been saying for a while now, you're going to see Bitcoin really get slammed. It's never been through a recession. It's never been through what we're going to have is a depression, right? A long-term depression. All right, so let's listen to this one.
At the speculative mood of Bitcoin right now, because Bitcoin has declined as, of course, the NASDAQ has gone up. Everyone like...
Now look at this. You see Bitcoin usually leads the way, but it's been losing steam. Bitcoin's in red and NASDAQ in black. So you see it's been losing steam, the end of 2024. It got a little mojo back this year, but now it's ready to go down to the ground, right? Or way down. So like I said, I think we'll probably see 45,000 before we see what the speculative knuckleheads that want you to speculate more, Goldman Sachs or whoever, they're saying that, 175,000 next year. Yeah, they want you to pump your money in there so they can pull the rug and take your money, because that's normally what happens. So anyway, as you see, the NASDAQ's taking off and Bitcoin is going down. Now, I've heard some people say, if you want to know which way the market's going, watch Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is going down, right? And it's going to go down. I think maybe it'll get a bounce, maybe not, but we'll see. I think it's going to bounce, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it'll bounce back up to its high and then a little bit more. But I don't think we're going to see, like I said, we're not going to see 175. We're not going to see 150. We may see 135, maybe. I said at the extreme end, I said we'll see 125. We've seen 126, but I said at the extreme end, maybe 135,000 on Bitcoin. So we'll see. We'll see if it bounces back, but it's really getting shellacked pretty hard. So let's look at a little bit more of this.
Word data center, and no one likes the word, I guess, anything to do with tokenization or stable coins or anything like that right now. And clearly there is a huge trend going on, which is leading into the thematic here that nobody likes crypto. And the Bitcoin is losing its whales. In our last video, we talked about a Satoshi era whale. That is an OG whale. 1.5 billion liquidated. Goodbye. And this is the type of thing that we've started to see across the board. A fear coming into the greatest hodlers in this particular asset class in some time. And in just about 2 weeks, I'll actually be talking to a bunch of crypto guys, mostly, of course, pro crypto guys, but I'm very interested to see.
All right. So what he's showing right here is it's a lot lower. So as you can see from this chart, it's in a downtrend, right? It's not coming back up. It's not reaching new highs. It's reaching lower highs and lower lows. So that's a downtrend. And Ethereum, Solana, all the biggies in crypto are going down and down and down. And today they've gone down quite significantly again. So not looking good for the crypto bros.
What the mood's like. Because if it's really bad and we do continue to see price action break some of the key supports we'll talk about in a moment, then we'll need to be paying a lot of attention. At the moment, though, there are some cool charts here. Don's dividends obviously showing that while the markets are making here lower lows, which they are, of course, that maybe we've just had extra whales coming in. So this chart here will be getting larger. But we usually do see
So this these red and pink, that's where people are selling. So you can see there's a massive sell-off going right now in Bitcoin, right? So, I mean, will it go back up? Like I said, maybe. There's still a lot of people out there believe in this. They have to get spanked and have their money taken away from them, like children that have money that shouldn't, right? So, and that's unfortunate because a lot of people think they're going to get rich, and a lot of people have. Not a whole lot of people, but most people see people, making money, and they jump in and they throw everything at it, and then they get spanked, right? Most people, like I said, 95% of people that are invest in crypto do not make money, right? So if you're making money right now. So anyway, don't be a piggy, right? Piggies get slaughtered, right? Bacon, don't become bacon, right? Don't become bacon. I don't eat pork that much, but I do like bacon. So, I mean, maybe you're going to be on my plate soon. So, all right. So I don't want to get a little crazy, but anyway, there's more. There's more to this game, and I'm going to show you. You're going to watch this video. You're going to share this video, and people are going to be like, where do I invest in silver? All right. So Dr. Corkelia, hello. So here we go. So remember, WTF happened 2007, 2008, Michael Burry, all these guys that call the market, and that's very nice of them to call it, because these guys that's the smart money, and they're calling it, and but some people are like, most people, unfortunately, because most people get their money taken away from them, all their savings, everything. And then they have to continue working for the rest of they will have to continue to work for the rest of their lives, right? a lot of people out there, and that's unfortunate. But you know, there's a lot of NPCs out there. They're just there for show. So we can't clue everybody up, right? We can't clue everybody up, and I'm not going to get all butthurt if I don't. So just like 2007 and like 2008, Bear Stearns. So it was $175 stock. He's going to talk about this. It started losing money in January. All right. I'm not saying that January is going to be the turning point, but it seems to happen quite often when the market gets real jiggy like it is right now. And it went, I think it was like $75. And like I was telling you guys, the next day you wake up and you got nothing. That's what happened with Bear Stearns. So you see how it has that little jig. So it collapsed, and then it went up. Everybody's like, oh, buy it. It's a great deal. It's a great deal. And then it went down again. And then everybody's like, I don't know, maybe. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Sell it. And then some people woke up. They just held it. I've done that to crypto stocks. All right. I can't knock these people to do that. I held on a crypto stock that was crashing, and I was like, it's linked to the dollar. It's not going to go anywhere. What the heck? And it went to zero very quickly. All right. So, and there goes tens of thousands of dollars. So you don't want to be that way. If all you got is tens of thousands of dollars, you don't want to be in this market, guys. You're going to get destroyed. So Bear Stearns, they woke up and it was zero. So everybody's like, oh, it's a $75 stock. You know, yeah, it was 175, but it'll come back. It never did. It went bye-bye, right? So this is going to happen to a lot this time. So we just saw one Bear Stearns, and then the federal government came in and dumped money like crazy and pumped the market back up trillions and trillions of dollars. They minted so much money. That's not going to work this time. People are done with that. The dollar's losing value. As the dollar loses value, what happens to your silver? It goes up, right? So, and then all of that value that you have with the silver, while other things are going down, stocks, housing, all these things, you'll be able to buy them for pennies on the dollar with the wealth that you have, right? So, holy shit, 2 subprime hedge funds just blew up, exactly like Bear Stearns. So we've already seen this. It's already happening.
What's happening here in the monetary system? You guys know from watching my videos that the monetary system is simply a network of bank balance sheets. So if you have UBS starting to, let's just say, struggle in a very similar way to Bear Stearns starting to struggle in the middle of 2007, that's going to have a ripple effect throughout the entire monetary system. How? Because perceived counterparty risk goes up, because everyone at these money dealer banks knows that UBS's balance sheet could be connected to a lot of those counterparties that they may be lending to. So risk goes up, liquidity goes down, regardless of what the Fed is doing with their balance sheet. In other words, QE or QT. So just to make sure we're all on the same page, the similarities here are that in the middle of 2007, we saw funds closed by Bear Stearns. There were these subprime funds that, oddly enough, like we said earlier, were called high grade. They started to close these down, and then they got a massive amount of redemptions, which has caused a doom loop because they have one problem over here, they get redemptions over here, which causes even more problems, which causes even more redemptions. And we could see the exact, well, we definitely see the exact same thing play out just the other day with UBS. Now, will it lead to a doom loop? TBA, right? We'll go over that more throughout the rest of this video. But the key here is to realize that none of us can predict the future. There are no certainties, only probabilities. But what we're seeing right now with UBS, private credit, shadow banking is exactly what we saw in 2007. Now, I know the pushback is going to be, Joe, what are you talking about? You're always too bearish. I mean, Right now, the S&P 500 is at all-time highs. And everyone knows it. Sure, we've got Tricolor and First Brands. And
well, it was, a day or so ago, but not so much now. Not at all-time highs. So it has come down. So the stuff he's talking about is starting to jiggle the market. Every time we've seen the market collapse, you see these massive, blow-ups and then explosions going down. We saw an explosion going down yesterday and today. It looks like it's turned around a little bit. I haven't looked at it recently, but looks like it was turning around earlier. But will we wake up next week and it's gonna do the same thing, crash like crazy? Possible, and then maybe hit a bottom and then rocket back up into next year. It's a possibility. So here he is. He's talking about things that are happening right now with UBS are very similar to like Bear Stearns, where he had a $175 stock, like I mentioned, and then it was a $75 stock, and everybody woke up the next day and it was zero, right? Zero. And that's 2008. So 2007, like 2008. So Michael Burry said, get out. This market is wanky. It's overvalued, all kind of crazy stuff. And then he made a lot of money. All right. So he's in a position to make a lot of money again. So he's doing the same thing. Now, I think we're going to see 26 into 27 as the all-time unbelievable blowout of lots of assets, except for silver, right? Except for silver. All right, I got a few more, and then Hindenburg. So Hindenburg omens, very similar. You remember the Hindenburg basically was that blimp that crashed and everybody burned up. So this is they have a Hindenburg omen. It's a warning. So we could have told those people that got on the Hindenburg or on those flights for 9/11, that's not going to end well. I wouldn't get on that flight, right? So that's what we see with the stock market sometimes. So he's going to talk about how we have had, if you look back in time, these five numbers of Hindenburg omens, and we've just had, and then we had a big crash in 2020. Now we're seeing the same thing again.
Tested, and I thought that we'd get at least 6 to 10 of these. Now, did I think we'd get 5 of them within a few weeks of each other? The answer is quite simply no, I probably didn't. And it's getting a little scary when you start to look at clusters. Because remember, the Hindenburg omen by itself, meh. But once you start to look at it and you get a lot of them, guys, wow, things get a little bit changed. Because as you can see here, what tends to happen after these Hindenburg omens is a pretty bad monthly period. Now, we have been on the record to talk about the fact that we generally believe that by the end of the year, the markets will be up. So remember, that's 2 months, not just one. But that is going to be...
All right. So again, are we going to see he talks about Burry as well. Are we going to see a pretty significant pullback? Yes. Very, very possibly for potentially the rest of this month. And then into the next month and into next year, potentially, we'll get Santa Claus rally and everybody be happy. They go out and spend because there's lots of money flowing, or maybe not, because I've seen Christmas as not being very happy this year. I said that almost at the beginning of this year. So we'll see. We'll see if that prediction comes true. Will it be because of economics? Will it be because of some massive earth change event, which I think is highly possible too? Maybe a massive earth change event will cause the stock market to crash. Who knows if that does happen? All right. So more and more events are coming. For instance, we're having a weather pattern, a historic weather pattern. Now, you guys know that I've been saying that it's same thing again. I even did it before the beginning of the year. You know how a lot of people do predictions at the turn, like in January? I did it. I was like, I'm going to be ahead of the game. So it was last year. I think it was like November, December, something last year. I was predicting this year, right? So I said it would be a crazy early winter, and it would be significant, right? So let's look at some of the stuff that's coming out there right now. So the science eventually catches up with the psychic predictions, and when it does, it's time to share it.
Pattern is about to get very intense and powerful, everybody. Matter of fact, this hasn't happened in over 50 years. As we go later into November and especially past Thanksgiving and into December as well, all the way past Christmas, we're going to go through a sudden stratospheric warming event. Now, last time this has happened in November was 1968. A minor happens about 2 times every year where it changes some of the wind direction, but a major will do a full reversal of the winds and create crazy weather patterns where we have snowstorms, blizzards, and nor'easters with a big cold pattern and a big warm pattern meeting together. Now,
all right. So let me pull it back just a little bit. So as you see here, that warm cluster goes to where the polar vortex usually, spins, and it has a particular pattern. Now, I've been saying that we have basically the polar, we're having a polar shift, right? So we're having a wander of where the polar points are usually. So they've sped up. So the wander of this, it can happen over thousands of years, hundreds of years, tens of years, year long. Now it's almost on a daily basis that we're seeing the polar, spots where it normally is, they're wandering massively, very, very fast. So this is probably part of what's causing what's going to cause these massive blizzards we're going to see this year, and nor'easters for the Great Lakes and so forth, into all the way into the northeastern parts of United States.
Blizzards and nor'easters with a big cold pattern and a big warm pattern meeting together. Now, a major happens about 6 times every 10 years, but one happening in November is very rare. Like I said, the last time was 1968. And it's all because of our polar vortex breakdown. So when we have a healthy polar vortex, it goes around, everything's just fine. But when you have an unstable polar vortex, you get these little fingers and vortices that come down, and this keeps swinging across, bringing storm after storm after storm. And eventually this cold air comes down with it as we go into Thanksgiving week and beyond, and bringing snowstorm after snowstorm. Now you can see this when you look way up into your tropopause. So as we go through next week,
okay, so we're going to see these storms like I talked about. We've already seen a polar vortex come all the way down into Florida, southern Florida. The iguana apocalypse, iguanas falling off the trees because it gets super cold, right? Then the sun comes out like it just did behind me. It was like snowing on the peaks. So there's still snow on the peaks. It's kind of melted off a little bit. I would show you, but tomorrow night is when we're supposed to start to get real serious snow, feet of snow. All right, so into Sunday. So at the high altitudes where I'm at, we're probably going to get some serious, feet, maybe a couple feet of snow, but maybe not. Maybe just a foot. All right, just a foot. All right, so a couple feet, a foot. All right, but we're going to see feet and feet, tens, hundreds of feet of snow here in Lake Tahoe and in some of the mountain areas, Colorado, the Rockies, and so forth. So we're going to see significant snowfall going all the way across. I don't know what's going to be down in the southern regions. They're probably going to get pretty cold down there. The polar vortex will probably dip pretty low, like it did. So when winter finally hits in a little over a month from now, then it will really, really, really kick in, right? So it's going to be interesting. The weather, guys. It's going to be interesting with the stock market. It's going to be interesting with all of this energy that's coming into Earth. I'm very surprised we haven't seen a significant earthquake yet. Maybe the 3i Atlas craft is intervening. I don't know. They haven't called me up. Said, hey, Mike, yeah, we're those earthquakes that you should have gotten. We're handling that. I'm like, cool, thanks. Can I pass that on? Nah, no, don't pass that on yet. So no, they didn't tell me. So I have nothing to pass, right? But if they did have something to pass, I think they would let me pass it. All right. So, and they shared it with me. So there is that's why I like to just do my own remote views. That way no one can get all butt hurt and try to control me, right? Like CIA used to do. All right. So I'm a free agent now, right? I'm a free soul, right? How many of you guys are free souls? Everybody, right? Everybody in this group. All right. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem hands out $10,000 bonus checks to TSA agents for exemplary service during the shutdown. All right. I don't know, but that lady right there doesn't look like she's all that happy. Right. What? You're getting a $10,000 check and you're like, do I have a smile ear to ear? What's up with you? All right. Some people, I don't know. So, Secretary shook each of the recipients' hands as she passed out envelopes containing the $10,000 bonuses. Because we know that a lot of the lefties didn't show up to work. And so the ones that did show up for work and helped keep the show running are going to get bonuses. So those lefties are be like, maybe I shouldn't be a lefty anymore. Yeah, maybe it'll work for some of them. I think most of them are NPCs anyway, so it won't matter. President Donald Trump recommended a $10,000 bonus for air traffic controllers who worked during the shutdown as well. So, and when asked by Fox News' Laura Ingraham about where that money would come from, Trump answered, I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. All right. Well, that's good to know. Can you get Tina Peters freed while you're at that? Okay. So now with the Tina Peters thing, we have seen a massive, thank all of you that did respond. We saw a massive call out for her to be released or, helped or whatever to the governor of Colorado and to the penitentiary there in Pueblo. We've also seen a massive call out to Department of Justice and the White House. All right, so we're hitting everything. I'm very surprised. Now, when I look at this, I'm like, what could possibly be stopping them from freeing this one woman? Well, we know the deep state, who's very powerful, wants to have a notch in their belt, and they want her to die in prison. All right, that will be, and I think that could backfire on them. I think that could severely backfire on them. Now, if they do release her, it's good on the Trump administration because I'm guessing that they would have some kind of say. But I think it's the people power would possibly have an effect as well. So here we are almost at war we are pretty much at war with Venezuela. So they're sending out, drug boats and we're blowing them up in the water, both coasts, Pacific and Atlantic, or Pacific and the Caribbean. And we can't get this one woman freed. That's very suspect to me. So when I look deeper at why that would be, why they wouldn't just go in and physically release her, like send in a team of people, just roll in with, gun trucks and stuff, like I would do that. I wouldn't roll in with gun trucks. I just like blow up in the ceiling and go fast rope in and all kind of shit. And anyone got in the way, they're going to go bye-bye. And then take her out, put her on the helo and then fly away. But that's the way, I roll. That's why my teams have rolled in the past. So I think we're at that point where we're going to see military involvement. And I think the reason why we haven't done that yet, because when it goes, then that's the deep state is going to go full bore, almost Civil War level, right? But I don't see a Civil War, but I do see these big cities will probably explode, and they got a lot of bad people in them still. So I think that's where we're at, unfortunately, with the Tina Peters thing, right? So these checks that are going to go out, I guess they're going to send out a lot of checks. So it was a record-breaking 43-day government shutdown. I guess these guys weren't getting paid, and so President Trump wants to reward the ones that showed up, and says, I always get the money from someplace, regardless. It doesn't matter. I do a lot of bonuses for people because it's really something that it's like the American way when you think about it. The checks given to TSA agents on Thursday were from carryover funds from fiscal year 2025, right? So he's talking about giving out, I saw somewhere, thousands of these $10,000 checks all across the country, several thousand. So Trump administration officials said would be going to several thousand $10,000 bonuses to several thousand. All right, so this is at a time where really the federal government shutdown is a harbinger of, a lot of things that are not going to do so well. Now, we have heard that the Trump administration has gotten a lot of the gold back, right, from the Vatican and from a lot of other places where it was hidden. So that's very important, I think, very, very important. And will make a difference, I think, going forward. At some point, you're going to see states like New York and California are going to default on their bonds, right? So they've been very, not very good with their bonds. They've been money laundering. A lot of that money is going into a lot of people's pockets. So at some point, the money's due, kind of like the silver. So silver has a lot of here's a check for like a written paper. We will give you this amount of silver if you give us this much amount of money, and when you want it, we'll give it to you, or you can sell it, or we can buy it back from you. However, and mostly it's sold and it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. For every one of those writ. Where we have paper silver, there's probably 1,000 of those to 1 ounce of gold, right? So 1 to 1,000. So you guys know that that system's collapsing. When it collapses, the silver has to meet that demand, and if it's not there, then silver price explodes like it is doing, right? So we're going to see that really, really take off. And then the places where they don't have any money, like in California, New York, and they beg for the federal government to give them money or help them, we'll see how that works out. All right. They've effed around quite a bit in those two states, and we're going to see what happens. All right. And probably other states as well. All right, guys. That's all I got for today. Remember, if you want the best deal, I believe, by far, safety, value, because you're charged up front for when you buy the silver, or eventually when you buy gold, whatever, you're charged up front percentage wise, and then when you sell year, 2, 3 years later, where it's 5, 10x, whatever, you're not paying for silver that's gone up that much. You've already paid in the front, right? And then there's a fee for having it in storage, just like you would if you had your clothes and your personal belongings and your furniture in a storage shed somewhere. There is storage fees, which are very, very minimal. All right. So that's what you're seeing with Dr. Kirk Elliott. It's safe. It's funded. It's insured by Lords of London. So very, very good. You're not going to see your money go bye-bye, right? And if you want to convert it, it's converted within hours. So unless it's in a fund, like an IRA or something like that, it takes a little bit longer, right? So it's going to be very, very important going forward. So KEPM.com, that's basically Dr. Kirk Elliott's website. Tell them that Jaco sent you, and you'll get taken care of. Taken care of very well. All right. And they love it when all of you guys come in. I know so many of you guys are with him like I am, and it's one of the best investments I've ever made in my life, easily. Right, safest, preserved, and growing very, very nicely. Right. All right. So Kirk Elliott, Precious Metals, free consultation. Just go over to the contact, and you'll get the information there. So I'm going to have another show with Dr. Kirk Elliott because he's meeting with the guy, the depository guy. So we had to push our show back. So at 4 o'clock, I'll be meeting with him. We'll be doing a show together. So stand by for that. It's going to be really good. All right. Lots of love to you guys. Stay in love vibration, and I'll see you guys next time.